Welcome back to 30 Days of Daily Play. I'm very excited for today's activity. We are on day 17 of the Daily Play, a 365-day art journal to reignite your creative spark. And we are diving into one of my favorite ways to elevate a blank page, which is modern calligraphy. So I'm going to be introducing you to the basic strokes today. They don't look like much, but they're actually the foundation for every single letter in the alphabet. If there's one page that I want you to keep coming back to again and again and again, tracing, using another piece of scrap paper to keep practicing, even using tracing paper, you could get a piece of tracing paper or vellum to place over top of this page in your workbook and this page on the right hand side of your workbook. I would highly recommend, because even though they don't look like much, the basic strokes of calligraphy are what you're going to use combined to create every single letter of the alphabet. So even though it looks like all the letters in the alphabet are made in one fluid motion like cursive writing, in calligraphy they're actually a series of individual strokes that you create one by one. It's almost like drawing instead of writing. Okay, so the basic strokes are listed here. You have your upstroke, downstroke, overturn, underturn, compound curve, oval, and descender loop. When you look at these, based on everything we've been doing for the past 16 days, you should be able to visually tell that anytime you see a downstroke, that means that your pen was moving in a downward motion, applying heavier pressure. Anytime you see an upstroke, that means your pen needs to be moving in an upward motion using light pressure. So thin on the up, thick on the down. Thin on the up, thick on the down. So when you're looking at any letter, when we get to the alphabet in a couple of days here, when you're looking at any letter, you can see, okay, this is a thin line. That means I need to be moving up. This is a thick line, so I need to be moving down. So of course, we're going to be using our brush pen today. Hopefully by now you have the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen. There's also brush pens from Pentel. Maybe you're using a flexible nib or a pointed pen. That's totally fine. Anything, I would say, like a flexible nib or a brush pen is going to allow you to get those pressure changes. So to give you that line width variation from thin to thick. So when we look at these basic strokes we went through, the combination of basic strokes creates every letter in the alphabet. So for example, an oval combined with this downstroke underturn creates the letter A. So I'm going to show you this, but don't feel like you need to do anything in your journal just yet, but I just want you to know what I mean. So an oval is the first stroke, then I'm going to stop, and now I'm applying the second stroke. Okay, so now we're going to trace all of these strokes together. You could watch me first. You could pause it, come back, watch this as many times as you'd like, because I know, again, going back to that piece of art from yesterday, there is a period of time when you don't know something. It can be very frustrating until you get to the other side, but I promise you that if you can focus again on the sensory experience, just know that frustration is part of it and that you're simply connecting your brain and your body. So an upstroke, I have a book underneath to support my writing here and my wrist. A thin upstroke from bottom to top using light pressure. Again, making sure that you have your thumb and your index finger touching on that silver line, middle finger supporting on the bottom. Now for a downstroke, applying heavy pressure. And I've written every exercise in your book using the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen. So if you're not getting that same line thickness as you're seeing in your workbook, press harder, angle your pen more towards the page. So these are transition strokes, and they can be quite challenging. This is why we need to practice like you have over here. So a compound curve is an upstroke transitioning into a downstroke back into an upstroke. So let's do that here. Upstroke. Now I'm going to transition to heavier pressure, back to lighter pressure. Now I'm going upstroke, transitioning to downstroke, back to upstroke. So you can see there's little dots on your page indicating which direction you're moving for that first stroke. Then you have your ascender loop for letters like H, B, and a descender loop, which is like the ending of a Y, as an example. And so those are all the basic strokes, and they're going to help you create every single letter of the alphabet. Let me give you another visual example here. A downstroke, stop. mixed with an overturn, stop, and another overturn ending in an underturn is an M. And this is going to feel like a foreign language, and it's going to feel a little uncomfortable at first, but I promise you can do it, and it's going to be worth it. I've taught over 50,000 people the art of modern calligraphy now, which has just been the greatest honor of my whole career, and I can promise you this is a skill that can absolutely be learned. And it just takes practice. That's all it is. So keep practicing this whole page of your workbook. Again, you can place a piece of tracing paper or a piece of transparent vellum over top of this so that you can keep working. But the idea is that you're practicing all of the basic strokes before we get into creating all the letters of the alphabet. And I was impatient yesterday waiting for my watercolor to dry here. And so I have some watercolor bleeding down my page, and that is okay, right? The whole point of this book is that we can do whatever we like in it, and it's all about play. So for day 17, actually, maybe I'll use my brush pen since that may indicate for me that we're on the calligraphy day. And I'm just going to do some coils around here, experimenting with those pressure changes that we're working on to indicate that I just completed day 17, the first day of our calligraphy skill building. See you tomorrow.